All right, we're here. We're ready to go. I'm going to enable the chat, and I am going to give the floor to Kathy from Kadence.
And I'm ready. Awesome. I am going to share some slides because you don't want to just like look at my face all the time, right? Let's take a look at some fun slides because we're going to talk about something fun today. We're going to talk about something that has really made my life in WordPress a lot easier. We are going to talk about Kadence Cloud. And as an agency owner, you're probably looking for ways that you can optimize processes within your organization. And I am pretty sure Kadence is going to be able to help you. So if you haven't used Kadence, you are in the right place. If you've been using Kadence for a while, but you haven't tried Kadence Cloud, you are also in the right place. You know, I started with WordPress. Let's not talk about that. I've been around WordPress for a very long time. I was actually an agency owner before WordPress, and I understand the challenges that you as an agency owner face. You have to attract in those high value clients, the people who are going to pay you the big bucks for the work that you do and respect the expertise that you bring to the table. You want to bring on high performing team members and give them the tools that they need in order to create amazing things. And you want to make sure revenue's coming in regularly. You want to improve those processes. And it's your job as an agency owner or as an agency manager to scale that business and to make sure your processes are working well so that you can grow, so that you are not experiencing those peaks of income when you sell a project and dips when you are finished or working on a project and finishing things up and you have to go sell again. There are so many different challenges in the agency world. And it's one of the reasons why I stopped doing agency work. I did not enjoy it. You know, this was a long time ago too. There weren't the tools that are available today that you all have. And I am so excited to show you what Kadence Cloud can do for you because it is one of the tools in modern WordPress web development that really makes building out sites a lot more fun. All right, some backstory. If you have never heard of Kadence, well, I'm happy. I'm thrilled actually to introduce Kadence to you. It is way more than a theme. It was developed by a guy right here on the screen, Ben Rittner, who is one of my favorite people in WordPress. This guy is smart, has integrity, and is a visionary. It was developed, he was a theme developer and a web developer, and he saw Gutenberg being developed, and he said, oh, I can do this and more. And so he developed a plugin called Kadence Blocks before Gutenberg was even merged into WordPress core. He saw where WordPress was going and he wanted to make tools that made web development easier for him and share them with all of you. So Kadence Blocks was launched, and that really kind of, I don't know, it made the name for Kadence in my mind. The theme is great, but the theme coupled with blocks makes it even better. Now, you may be using a page builder, which is fine. You know, page builders are great and they have some great workflows as well. But a lot of people are looking at the way to build with blocks because it makes web development so much more fun. I mean, there's a Facebook group for Kadence, the Kadence web community, and I'll share a link at the end. And Maestro might have even talked about it in his presentation because he's an active member there as well. And I see people coming in who have had page builder sites. Maybe they built a site a while ago with Divi or Elementor, Beaver Builder, any of the page builders, and they're coming in and converting their sites over to Kadence and then posting their Lighthouse page speed scores, and they're happy. They're thrilled. They're making effective websites based on blocks. And blocks is kind of a new way of doing web development if you haven't used it before. You know, if you go and use Elementor and you're making, say, a contact page, that contact page is 100% Elementor. You can't slip a Gutenberg block in there. You're locked into that Elementor experience. Same thing with a lot of the other page builders. The cool thing about blocks is if you're building with blocks and you're starting out with Gutenberg and you want to use some Kadence blocks or Generate blocks or Spectra or any of the other block plugins, you can do that. And let's say you want to use native paragraph and native heading blocks in your page. You can do that, but you can also add in Kadence or generate any of these other blocks, and you don't have to install like a separate plugin for very specific types of things. You can get faster page speeds, accessibility aware. It really helps you make good decisions about your accessibility. And there's tons of innovation happening in this space. So, when you load up a Gutenberg page, you see these blocks that are the native Gutenberg blocks. And then when you install Kadence blocks, you get even more. So Ben saw that blocks were going to be the way of the future, but he also said, there's going to be a lot more things that people are going to want to do other than just headings and paragraphs and embedding YouTube videos. So there are tons of various blocks that you can use in Kadence. So if you want to use a Google map, very easy to do. You just insert that block, add your settings of where you would like that block to show that map. And there's Lottie animations, which is a technology that was developed by Airbnb. These are really super fast animations that you can bring into your website to call attention to various things. That is freely available in Kadence blocks. And the cool thing about how Kadence blocks works is if you are never using a Lottie animation on your site, that block doesn't load on the front end. Only the blocks that you are using end up loading on the front end. So it means that your end users are only downloading that which they need in order to consume your content. So it's really fast and it's really easy to use. There's so many different features available in Kadence blocks, info blocks, forms, testimonials, galleries, and these all come with additional settings that standard Gutenberg blocks don't have. This really puts the power of building a website into almost anyone's hands. So if you're an agency owner and let's say you have a lot of people working for you who maybe don't know HTML or CSS, they can build websites without ever touching a line of code just by using blocks. Super easy and super fun. And the future of the web, if you've been watching, is blocks. WordPress, going to full site editing. We've got some immediate tools available to us now that are almost ready for prime time. And that's all blocks. Blocks are the future of WordPress. And I'm even going to say blocks are the future of the internet. If you look at the blockprotocol.org, you can see how blocks are going to be the way websites are built pretty much everywhere. So blocks are the way to go. Kadence does so much more than just giving you the capabilities of adding a Lottie animation. There are so many other tools that are available to you in Kadence ecosystem. We have a ton of various starter templates, and I'll give you a quick view of those when I do some demos in a bit. So there's starter templates. There's about 80 of those, whether you're getting started with a WooCommerce site or an LMS site, or maybe that all-important influencer site. There are tons of gorgeous, professionally designed starter templates that are more like starter sites. They come with starter blog posts, starter products, and even starter courses for that LMS implementation. All of this in starter templates that are freely, there's some that are pro, there are some that are freely available to use, and there's a starter template plugin that just builds it all out, pulls in the plugins that you need. Dynamic content with Kadence Elements templating. Kadence Elements allows you to create some blocks that you can pull into anywhere on the site. Let's say you want a subscribe form at the bottom of every blog post, and you don't want to go through every single blog post and pull that in. You can create that subscribe form as an element and then just tell Kadence Elements, put that at the bottom of every blog post. Really powerful. Also powerful when you're using things like advanced custom fields or pods or toolset or metabox, and you have, let's say, one of my favorite examples is the cat database that I built out as an example for adoptable cats on Sally's Cat blog. And let's say there's a button for cats that are up for adoption and no button if there's no adoption form available. That kind of conditional templating. There's one template that displays every single cat, and that button shows up if there's an adoption form and conditionally does not show up if there isn't. So this is all part of Kadence Theme and Kadence Blocks Pro. Really powerful. Puts the ability to build out database-driven websites without ever touching a line of code, coupled with some of these other tools. Kadence conversions for pop-ups, slide-ins, and banners that you can conditionally show. You can even set them to not show if somebody's seen them too much, or take your banner down automatically at midnight when your sale is over. This plugin is incredibly powerful, and it's leveraging everything in Kadence blocks and showing banners and slide-ins and pop-ups, but you're building them out in blocks. Kadence Shop Kit is another incredibly powerful tool that allows you to add product templating and so much more to extend the functionality of WooCommerce, again, without touching a line of code. So you can have one particular product layout that applies to all your products, a segment of products, or just one product if you wanted a specific customization there. Or maybe you want to create a landing page and pull in some information from your product database, but you don't want to have to manually input all of that in case prices change and features change, those types of things. But today, I really want to talk to you about Kadence Cloud, because this is so cool. And there's some really cool implementations of what people are doing with this. So I'm going to show you what Kadence Cloud is all about, talk about how some people are using it, and I'm going to give you a quick demo so you get your feet wet using Kadence Cloud. So first of all, Kadence Cloud is a plugin. If you know how to use WordPress and you know how to design with blocks and Kadence blocks, you can use Kadence Cloud. In fact, there are even implementations, and that I'll show you in a moment, where different plugin content is being pulled into Kadence Cloud and then being set up so that it can be used on multiple sites. Now, I don't know if you're like me, where you have had to develop sites where clients have very specific needs, and you have to, it almost feels like you're creating everything from scratch. But you know that there are certain things that you're just going to use over and over again, right? Contact forms. Everybody's going to want a contact form, and there might be a little bit of a variation on specific contact forms, but basically one contact form, name, email, a message, maybe a reCAPTCHA, something like that. They're all going to be about the same. So what Kadence Cloud allows you to do is allows you to design something using Kadence blocks or any other blocks and put them into a cloud library that is on basically a WordPress site. So I've seen people put it on like cloud.theiragencyname.com, or GiveWP, which I'll show you in a second, does cloud.givewp.com. It's just a specific WordPress instance on which they have all of their cloud libraries for nonprofits that want to build out donation pages. So they have available headers and footers and donation forms and everything. And it lives on cloud.givewp.com, and people can subscribe to the list and get access to this cloud. And then they can pull all of the content from Give's cloud library. Now for agencies, you can set up cloud.youragencyname, and you can either give access to everybody on your team. You can give access to clients. You can have multiple cloud libraries that some are for clients so that they can build out very specific things, or sometimes you can build it out or set it up so that only your team members have access to that. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. But basically you have a library of different items, different block collections. It's not just one block. It's multiple blocks that you can put in there. And then that can be accessed by all of these other sites as long as they have an access key. So how are people using Kadence Cloud? Well, I hinted at this a little bit, but you can create your own design libraries, or you can share them for lead generation, or you can even create a design library that has numerous cloud items that you can give away for free and numerous cloud items that you can sell. And you can intermingle these, or you can have separate ones. You can have one that you sell access keys for, and you can have access keys for one database that will basically allow people to access just the pro items access all the free items as well as the pro items within that cloud library. So if you go to Give's cloud library, you'll see, if you just go to cloud.givewp.com, you see this sign up form, and this is lead generation for them. So you can put in your name, your email, and then you will get emailed an access key that will allow you to log in using Kadence blocks, log in and pull down some sample design. And these also come with, you can put freely available royalty-free images into your cloud and share those with your community as well. So it's really kind of cool. I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. But first, I wanted to show you a coupon. So if you go to go to KadenceWP.com and you put in Groundhogg 20 as a part of this presentation, you can get 20% off everything except for the lifetime bundle. And I'll give you a recommendation just shortly to show you what I think you should get. I think you should get the full bundle, because if you're going to do anything cool with Kadence as an agency, that full bundle is going to give you everything that you could ever want. So let's first, I'm going to reshare my screen and show you what this looks like. All right. So here is what you get when you do the full bundle. You get all of these products. So you'll get the theme, Pro plugin, Kadence Blocks Pro, all those things that you'll need for Kadence elements. But you have Kadence Cloud down here. So you'll basically download this plugin and then you will install it on one of your sites. So you can set up a separate site, or you can even put it on your main site if you're just going to have a small library. So I have installed it on a test site here, and you'll see it under the plugins, but let's just dive into the cloud library. And I will show you specifically, let's look at all cloud libraries and show you what's in there. So basically, you just set up first, let me show you how Kadence uses this, because that might be interesting for you as well. And this is just a standard WordPress site, but when you have Kadence blocks installed, you get this design library button up here. And then you can basically pull in anything from our cloud server into your site. So let's say you want to do this feature split, and you can just pull that in. One cool thing about what Kadence Cloud does and what the whole Kadence ecosystem does is, if, let's say, I had very specific colors set up on this site that would inherit from the design and the colors and the fonts of my site. So basically, you can set up cloud elements that will inherit different designs based on different clients, which is really cool. So this is just our design library. And on this site, I have the same plugin that we're using installed over here so that you can see cloud libraries. And these are basically anything you want to set up. So let's say you want to do a contact form. So you could build it from scratch, or let's say you want to just inherit from one of ours, but you want to customize it. So let's say you want to do this with a map. And why is that not using the maps plugin or the maps block? Let's change that actually. Instead of using an iframe, let's remove that custom HTML. And I am going to find Google Maps. And let's say, just for old time's sake, I am going to move it from the Golden Gate Bridge, and let's see if I can do it. My old hometown of Mount Shasta, California. We'll put that there instead. And we are going to save our Connect With Us Mount Shasta map in our cloud library. So this will go to that particular element. And then if we go over here to our cloud library, we can see, oh, I didn't title it, but we can also set up something that will allow us to generate thumbnails. So if you're selling this, actually, even if you're using this across just your sites, I highly recommend doing this, because this will give your entire team the ability to, at a glance, see what that particular block is going to give them. So we can see that little Mount Shasta map has been pulled in there as well. And I'm just going to do a quick edit and do a Mount Shasta contact form. Let's say you're doing tons of different Mount Shasta tourism types of things, and that's really handy for you. Okay, so we just created a cloud library element. And as you saw, we had a form on one side and we had a map block on the other side. So we are able to create anything we want to right here in our cloud library and make this accessible to all of our sites. Let's just look at how that is done. If we go to our cloud settings, we have, first of all, a connection URL here, which basically tells the other site where to look, and an access key. And I believe I have this, I'm going to show you two different things to do here. First of all, we're going to see how, I'm pretty sure this site does not have that connection. And we can see up here, this is where we're going to do the connections. And we're going to pull in that particular cloud library to this site, which is a completely different site altogether. So over here, we have Kadence blocks installed. We click this Cloud Connect, and we just need the connection URL and the access key. So I am not going to try to remember these. This is why we have cut and paste for live demos like this. And we are going to copy that and paste that in, and we're going to add that connection. And this should only take a second. And now we see the Kadence test cloud over here. And if we take a look at that on that other site, there's that Mount Shasta contact form that we generated on the cloud installation is now accessible to this completely different site. And let's say we want to pull that in. So we'll pull it in here, and there we are. And you see, it doesn't look the same as it did on the cloud site, because that has a different style sheet set up and different settings for the theme. So this is when you're pulling it in, this is now inheriting from this site's colors, typography, and all of the other settings that you have set up within Kadence as the theme. So if I wanted to go and change this now, let's say we wanted to get really granular with this particular block. I don't want to do the row layout. I want the map. Let's see, go to Google Maps. And let's say I wanted to go to Lake Street in Mount Shasta. And then it's going to go to that particular, we could put in a specific address and we could customize that so much easier. Rather than building this form from scratch, you're pulling in everything that you need. The styles have already been set, and then you can customize each one of these blocks. Now, I'm changing it just on this site that inherited from the cloud. This does not change the initial settings within that cloud setup. So if we went back over to this cloud where we have the master set up and we took a look at that, it's not going to see Lake Street on there at all. It's still going to have just a generic Mount Shasta for the location there. All right, so we did that. Now I wanted to show you another site, Sally's Cat Blog. We can go here and let's see, we've got this test cloud library set up. And this is something I wanted to show you because this was set up before we added that, before we added a lot of things actually. And so we can see that Mount Shasta map and contact form was not set up there. And we're only seeing a few things here. So let's say we need to pull in that information. We can click this sync with the cloud, and that's going to pull in. There's our Mount Shasta block that we just set up. And all of these settings can be set on that main cloud parent site. So if we go into our cloud settings, we have some general settings here that we can force sites to resync after 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. And again, now we're not saying that, if we change that Mount Shasta block on this cloud library on that parent site, is it going to inherit down to the other ones? No, it's not, because you're pulling that in and then customizing it for that particular site. So if you're going to make a change here and you want to have that inherited out to all of the other sites, you're going to have to resync and re-pull that in. So the cloud library is really good for when you're trying to set up things that you're going to use, and you're going to want to make it as much of a blank canvas as possible so that you're not setting up, you're not having to make a ton of different customizations. Now, when you're setting up your cloud library and you have that generate thumbnail, and we'll do this here for this other contact form. This is not something that's resident in Kadence Cloud. That comes with another setting, but that is something that's pretty easy to set up with this API Flash. So you would just turn this on, allowing you to regenerate those thumbnails, and you just need an API key to have that set up. But that's all free to do, and that's all in our documentation. So it's very easy to set up. Now, obviously, if we take a look at just all of the, let's look at the design library for Kadence again. Here on the task, we have pricing, feature items, and pro. These are all just different categories that we have set up, and you can set up different categories. We have them set up on our particular sections here. So there's all of the pro ones. So if you're using Kadence Pro, you have access to those. If you're just looking for a feature image, and you can group these as well. So in your agency, let's say you're always going to have contact forms, and there's like maybe 5 different ways that you would do that. You can design those 5 different ways and get them into your cloud very easily, and just have those easy to find. So that's something you'll want to consider when you're setting stuff up. Now, let's say you're an agency and you've got all of these client sites, and you know that you've been copying and pasting, and you've got this way of doing it that you've set up, and you want to convert everything over to Kadence Cloud. How easy is that to do? Let's say you want to, you have your contact forms and you want to go get them and copy them over. Let's do it this way. I am going to go to Sally's catalog, and I am going to go to our sections, and we are going to pull, let's say, this particular contact form. And this is the contact form that is on your particular site, your client site that you have set up. The great thing about Gutenberg is that it's very easy to just copy an entire row layout. If that's how you have it contained, just go to the parent thing, copy the entire block, and then you can go over to your cloud, and let's say we want to add a new cloud item. We can very easily just paste that in. And of course, in a live demo, blocks are not coming in. Usually works. Good going, live demo. But basically, you can just pull things in very easily, copy them from existing sites that you've developed before. If you have a ton of different block-related content that you've developed before and you want to just copy them in, Gutenberg copying usually works, unless you're doing a live demo, and then it never works. That's always the way it goes. So Kadence Cloud, very, very powerful, makes it very easy to do. Now, I wanted to show you some other things that are happening in sort of this Kadence world. Now, as you saw on when we were pulling in that design library, see these elements here that say Pro. So this is one design library. Kadence is one design library, and there's some things that you can just pull in for free, and there's some things that you need Pro for. How does that work? Well, we have a bunch of documentation on the site that will walk through how you can do that, and there's multiple ways that you can sell cloud libraries. You can sell them through WooCommerce, and there's some plugins and some code that you need to just snippets you need to add in order to do that. Or you can use SureCart, which is a new method of selling online, and you can sell your licenses that way. And I wanted to just show you, there's tons of creative people in the WordPress space, and I'm going to bet that if you're watching this, you are one of them. And you can probably build a lot of these things that can be incredibly useful for other people, way more useful than a Mount Shasta contact form. There are some creative people in the Kadence community who are doing some of these things, including Maestro. If you just saw his presentation right before mine, Maestro is one of these people who are taking Kadence Cloud and the Kadence Child Theme Builder, and they are creating additional streams of revenue by creating design libraries and selling access to them. So I wanted to show you one gentleman, Jake Full, who is doing this. And Jake is he's amazing. He takes ideas that we have and he expands on them. For example, Michelle Frechette, who I work with at Stellar WP, she's like, well, I'm not going to use Linktree anymore. I'm going to build it out with Kadence blocks. And I said, that's a really good idea. I'm going to show the Kadence community how to do that. And so for my dogs blog, who doesn't really blog, it's just me. But we created a LinkedIn or a Linktree replacement, just using Kadence, very simple Kadence blocks. And Jake took that and actually built out libraries that people can use on his site on Start Blogging Blocks, where you can actually get all of these Linktree replacement, and you can install this block from his cloud library, and it inherits from your colors, goes straight onto your site, and all you have to do is change the verbiage and change the links. He has a ton of different elements that he is using here, including alerts. This is the first one that I saw. So he's got these free alerts. Obviously, when you're developing any kind of website, having alerts are important, because if somebody doesn't properly fill out a form, you want to make sure that they are aware and you want to call attention to that. So he's got these free block alerts that he is giving away as lead generation. And then he's got some pro ones that he gives to people who buy his design library. And they're all within one library. But again, he's using those license keys in order to sell access to all of the designs. So this is another way that he's creating an additional stream of revenue for his business while using Kadence blocks. So it's a platform for basically selling designs to anybody who's using Kadence, much like how Give created their design libraries for nonprofits so that they could help nonprofits build out all of the donations pages using, a hero image, a donation blocks, some testimonials, and some footers that they can just pull right in. Because Give is always getting asked, how do I build out, I need to start collecting donations, but what should it look like? And how do I do this? And Kadence, being a no-code solution, gives them all of the tools that they need in order to do that. Here's another organization that has a design library, and they've got free layouts and some custom ones as well. And all you do is sign up to get access, and they have buttons and cards, a gallery, reviews, content sections, calls to action. Now, these are all things that are within the Kadence design library, but they're putting their own spin on it. So as an agency, how many times are you putting your own spin on something that's maybe just a wireframe in order to make something look visually appealing and fit with your client's brands? Why not do it in a bigger way and take those same kinds of design skills when maybe you have a designer that has a little bit of downtime, and you create your own design libraries and put those up for sale using Kadence Cloud. Makes it very easy to do. So tons of fun things that people are doing with Kadence. Let's see, we do have some questions, I guess. Let's see. Oh, we've got lots of people. Oh, there's Maestro. Hi, Maestro. Good to see you here. Yeah, the Kadence Cloud Library, that's basically it. And that it's very easy to use. Now, if you're thinking about getting in on Kadence, you can buy the Kadence Cloud plugin. It's $69 if you want to get in on that. But honestly, there's so many different powerful things that are available within Kadence that I would really go with that full bundle, because that's really going to give you everything that you need for that dynamic content, like Andy's talking about with Toolset, to be able to use Toolset for setting up those custom fields, and then being able to set up any kind of templating, which is really cool. I can give you a quick tour also, since I'm mentioning it so much. I feel like I should give you a quick tour of what that's all about, because this is a really powerful way of using Kadence. This is Sally's cat blog, and she has all of her favorite cats here, and these are just custom post types that she has set up. She's got everything from the cat name to the adoption link and a photo and a background image and some text. And each one of these cats gets, some of this data entered in here, but it is not, if we go to look at those cats just generally before we set up templating, there's basically nothing there. You have to have a way of being able to pull in this generic content, and Kadence Elements templating is how you do it. And see, there's just one favorite cat template, and it's got some very specific settings that pull in that information. So wherever you see any of this is conditional here. So we have a conditional adoption link and a conditional button. Just as a sample, you probably wouldn't do both of them, but this is just one template that allows you to set up numerous ways of showing data for your custom post types. It makes things incredibly easy to do. So loads of fun. Other things that people are doing with Kadence Cloud libraries, the Kadence Child Theme Generator is another tool that is incredibly powerful to use. And let's see, I have the Child Theme Generator on one of these sites, and that might be Sally's site. The child theme generator is basically, I did want to show you all of the starter templates. That's basically what we're using for all of our starter templates, the child theme generator. And you get that as a part of that full bundle. So if you have a designer that's created an amazing design for one of your clients, and let's say they want to take that particular design and apply it to a child theme, you could sell that, and people could take that basic structure and that basic starter site and run with it, And all of our starter templates have royalty-free images that you can either use or replace. You could do something very similar as well. And there are a number of different developers who are doing that. Let's see, Brandon Build is one of them. So she has a ton of different designs that she has created. Michelle Noonan has created here. These are mostly, there's some Divi ones, but there's a lot that are built with Kadence. And it's basically a starter site with a specific flair that she's bringing to it. So she's taking her design creativity and applying it to a starter template, and she's selling them herself. So a lot of our starter templates are free. And we do have, quite a few pro ones as well that is not loading properly. But yeah, so these starter templates basically just help you get started using Kadence very quickly. So this is a full starter site. And when you have that starter template plugin installed on a site, you start with a blank WordPress site and get that starter template plugin installed. It's freely available on the repo, and it will just pull in these designs. And then you can just go ahead and customize these. And maybe you can customize them with some of the designs that you have in your cloud library, because it's all going to work the same. Now, something else I wanted to mention is if you are getting involved with, let's see, do you want to go to the right link? But I use a different browser for Facebook because this is my work browser. But let's see, this should get us there. On Facebook, there is the web design community for, I'll pop a link in the chat in a bit, but the web design community on Facebook, if you just do Kadence group, it'll probably pull it up for you. And there you have over 10,000 people who are asking questions about how to get started with Kadence, how to get started with Kadence blocks, Kadence theme, Kadence dynamic templating, custom CSS. There are people who are asking questions that are incredibly specific. And there's people giving answers. There's so many people in this group who are really dedicated to helping you get the success you need with Kadence. But of course, Kadence is fully supported. We have a strong commitment to everyone being successful in creating effective sites with Kadence. It's not just, you buy the theme, you buy the plugin, and you're on your own. We are very dedicated to, and I'm just going to show you because it shows up there with the ratings. This is just free, the free plugin that is in the repo, and you can see that we have 5 stars. And if you look at those, I'm going to bet you 90% of the people who are talking about Kadence right now, and this is brave of me, right? I didn't even look at this before I showed you. At all these 5-star reviews showing you that the excellent customer service. And we support our free users as much as we do our pro users, because we really want you to be successful with this platform. You're not on your own. And we know that learning a new way of building, if you've been using Elementor or Divi or any other page builder system, and you're transferring over how to use blocks, there's a learning curve, but the learning curve is worth it, because when you start seeing the page speed improvements, Core Web Vital improvements, when you switch over to building with blocks, it's so worth it. It adds an additional way to convince your clients that this is the way to go and that you are the agency that they should go with. So it does solve a lot of your sales problems as well, when you can build effective sites that the search engines love, that site visitors love, that the page speed score measurement tools love, when you start building with blocks. So we're here to support you in everything that you are doing. So the future of Kadence Cloud, as Maestro is asking, it's core to our business. It's part of what we do. So we're going to continue to develop new ways of people. There's actually some neat things that Ben Rittner, the founder of Kadence, just showed us the other day in a team meeting. That there's new things coming to Kadence Cloud that are just going to knock your socks off, that'll make building out sites even easier than before. If you think starter templates are easy, just wait till you see what's coming with that. But Kadence Cloud, is a very core part of our business. And we know that if we're going to give it to you to use, or we're going to sell it to you to use, we're going to have to put the dev chops into it to make sure that all of us, not just Kadence, but that you as well, are able to use a tool that helps you scale your business into new ways of making money, new ways of selling clients, new ways of making connections, and new ways of just streamlining those processes. Because I know how hard it can be when you're trying to develop everything from scratch and you don't have everything that you need. So it is definitely something that to me, I've been around WordPress space for a really long time. And when I saw Kadence, I was like, oh, yes. Thank you. Because I literally was, I had the Gutenberg plugin on my personal site, and I'm like, I'm going to force myself to use it because I know this is where it's going. I'm going to force myself to use it. And I was like, yes, I see where we're going here. I see that the future is blocks, and I see what we're doing, and this makes sense, but I don't know how I'm going to do this. There's so much. Am I going to write like custom CSS for every block? What's going on here? And it wasn't until I saw Kadence blocks and saw the ability to take an image and style it, and even put what are they called, like a sepia tone on an image right in WordPress. I don't have to Photoshop this. Are you serious? Not having to fire up additional tools, not having to fire up additional plugins to be able to have all of this customization right there in WordPress. I joke sometimes, but it is the truth that Kadence changed my relationship with Gutenberg, truly. And I could write HTML myself and CSS myself. I've done it. I've built databases. I've dealt with a lot of stuff in tech. But do I want to? No. No, I want the no code tools, and I want to make it easy because I want to focus on connection. I want to focus on the message. I want to focus on making a good experience for the end user rather than having to spend all my time, how exactly do I style this again, and researching code. I want it all available to me. And that's what Kadence really does. So that's something that is something that's really interesting. All right, Andy had a question. Can you show us how agencies could leverage the work they're already doing and add a revenue stream by selling elements you've already designed? Definitely. Well, obviously have a strategy of what it is that you're going to do. What are those elements that you are going to take from things that you've already designed? So let's think about the sites that you've developed. Let's say you're in a specific niche. Let's say you are in my neighbor's roof. You're in the roofing industry and you build sites for roofers and you build content, everything you do is for roofers. You are a one-stop shop for roofers. That is your niche and you're good at it. And you're not just doing it in your location, you're doing it worldwide or nationwide or something like that. So what are the elements of a roofing website? Well, you're going to have testimonials. Obviously, you're not going to copy those from site to site, but the layout you might, the way things are formatted, probably. You're going to have hero images and you're going to be using specific images that are royalty free across a number of sites. I'm sure you're probably not going to customize every single picture on every single site. So you can put all of those types of things, image layouts in the cloud. You can put feature benefits in the cloud and you can pull those into every single site. Let's say you've been a roofer, but all of a sudden now everybody's calling you for HVAC, and because you did such a good job on the roofer's site, the HVAC guy is calling you now. Maybe you want to have a different cloud library for that because you're seeing a new niche you could get into. Maybe you want to structure it all within one, and you have like roofing contact forms and HVAC contact forms, and you have those separated out. And so you kind of take this top level, you set the strategy as the business owner of how things are going to go, and you can set up your cloud any way you want so that it is something that's going to be of service to all of the people who are working in your agency. And you can just make those connections. The other thing too is to consider what types of clients you have. Like, say you have clients that never want to touch the website and this is just for you, but maybe you're in an industry where you're building sites and handing them over to clients and you want to give them the tools to build out they're the ones that are posting blog posts. So you have editor access for your customer. Don't give them admin access because, security, you know how that thing goes. But let's say they have editor access and there's always going to be a call to action at the bottom of every blog post. And you want to give them 3 different calls to action that they could possibly put at the end of every blog post. You can set up a client-specific cloud, give them access to just those things, and then they can pull those in. That could be another line item in your proposal that you're going to make things easier for those end users, and they can access their own personal cloud. You can even set up a cloud, because the way Kadence's licensing structure works. Let's say you have, rooferusa.com. You could set up cloud.rooferusa.com. Give them all of the elements that they need in order to build out blog posts or even build out a landing page if they're doing a sale. And then all you have to do is be able to support them with that, but they have that tool. That could be another benefit on your initial proposal that, hey, we're going to give you this too. What a differentiator to tell your clients that they don't have to come back to you every time they need something, that you're going to give them the tools, the no-code tools that they need in order to build out sites and landing pages and blog posts, everything they need on their own. And Kadence does that because first of all, the licensing, you can use Kadence Cloud on numerous servers. You don't necessarily have to set it up, just on one, and it's limited. So if you need to use it for multiple clients, as long as the licensing is something that you own, you're not, trying to give that away to your clients, and you still retain a relationship with them. That licensing supports you in giving additional value, because it's so much easier to sell that at the beginning, isn't it? When you're talking to a new client, to be able to say, hey, these are all the benefits that you're getting, and sell that at the beginning, rather than, oh, well, by the way, we have this type of thing. And it just adds such a differentiating factor when you're going up against other agencies in a competitive market. So can you create admin side pages from Kadence? How do you get away from the ugly, complicated WordPress backend? Still in WordPress. And that's pretty much where we're at, you know. And yeah, so locking down the admin side is not something that you can totally do. We do have some neat stuff coming with forms. So stay tuned for that. Kadence Blocks 3 coming. It's in beta right now. It's like 4th version of the beta that's been released. If you're testing, thank you. And if you are waiting for this to be done, it's coming very, very soon. And the form block is going to bring some new tools to you that I think you'll find very, very interesting. So we have a few more minutes. I could dance. I don't have the oh boy meme. I'm really glad everyone was here. If you are using Kadence, thank you so much. I hope you're as excited about Kadence as I am. It's like, it's my jam. It's my thing. It's what keeps me excited coming and talking to all of you, and being able to show you what Kadence can do. There's so much more Kadence can do. If you haven't even tried Kadence Cloud, do it. It is the best. And take advantage of that Groundhogg 20, 2Gs, and go ahead and get that. I think I can put this in the chat. Groundhogg 20 is your discount code. And I didn't spell it right because I'm talking too much. Groundhogg 20. There we go. There is your discount code. Groundhogg 20. You can get anything 20% off on the Kadence site except for the lifetime bundle, and start building with Kadence. I'm not as entertaining as Maestro. I'm sorry. If you guys saw Maestro, I had me laughing so much. That was such a great presentation, and Kadence is better for having Maestro as a part of that. Oh, and the Facebook group. Let me see if I can get that link over for you too, because there are tons of people in that group who are there to help you, who are there to answer questions. It's a great place to get design inspiration as well, and to just stay in touch with everything that Kadence offers and everything that's happening. Ben's sister, Hannah, who I work with and I just adore, she's very active in there and makes sure that everybody gets questions answered. And of course, our support people. We provide free support, we provide paid support, and we are just happy that you're using Kadence. So, song and dance. Any other questions about Kadence? If you have questions about anything at Stellar, I will do my best to answer those as well. Stellar, we've got the events calendar, LearnDash. We've got iThemes security, which iThemes backup buddy. Orderable if you're doing restaurant websites, and GiveWP. And so many of our starter templates are aligned with all of these other brands. So if you're doing an events site and you use events calendar, there's probably a starter template that is available for you that you can just plug and play and get hitting the ground running with whatever you're doing. We're here to make using WordPress easier for everyone and making sure you don't have to spend so much time in code. Not that code is bad, code is good. And people who can code are amazing. And I love that. But yeah, lots of fun. What else can I tell you about Kadence? Ben lives in Missoula, Montana. Missouri, Montana, Missoula, Montana. And I'm very jealous of that because he gets to live in the mountains. Ben started the company and sold to Liquid Web when he had twins. So he had 2 kids under 5, and then he had twins on the way. And he's like, I'm overwhelmed. This is growing up. I need help. And yeah, and it just has not stopped growing. Kadence community keeps growing. people who are using Kadence keeps growing, the business is growing and is healthy. So if you are looking for a healthy place to put some of your workflows, Kadence is a great place to make that decision. Very committed to doing effective websites. We have a podcast. If you go to KadenceWP.com/podcast, and also on our YouTube channel, we've got some tutorials there, as well as a podcast that we do every couple of weeks where we talk about everything Kadence, and then also just lots of thinking through how to build a more effective business around WordPress. Whether you are an entrepreneur just getting started, or you're an agency or a freelancer and thinking about all of these pain points, developing an agency and growing and scaling an agency, there's a lot of pain points to it. And everything from dealing with clients to now you've got employees, and all of a sudden now you're managing people instead of managing, being, knee deep in the code. It can be very painful and stressful. So we're here to support you in every step of that journey, no matter what size agency you are. If you're just getting started, or if you've been doing this a while and you just want to take a fresh approach to how you build sites, our support team is there to help. And I think we have the best support in WordPress right now, because these people, I was going to say guys, but it's lots of people, not just guys. They will answer questions about what's going on with a different theme, because you can use Astra or any other different theme and Kadence blocks. And even though it's not our product, if it is going to make your workflow better and it's tangentially related to building sites with Kadence, we're going to help you through that. Because, when the theme is involved, there can be a lot of things going on. So yeah, we're here to support you in this crazy journey. So I don't know what more I can say about Kadence, but I could talk all day about it if anyone let me. But I'm watching the clock tick down and just waiting for Adrian to show back up now. I am in Texas right now, where we have had 3 days of ice storms, and I don't have any sound effects, Maestro. I need you to come here and help me with sound effects. My only sound effect would be my dog barking at someone, but nobody's out because we have had an ice storm, and there are literally people ice skating down the streets in my part of North Texas. So it's just crazy. I heard a doorbell though, so hopefully that's Adrian.
I'm here.
You're here.
I'm here.
Amazing.
How did it go?
I think it went really well. I had a great audience of tons of people who are big fans of Kadence. So
everyone should be a big fan of Kadence because it's epic software.
It's pretty amazing. I always joke that it changed my relationship with Gutenberg, which is not a lie. It really did.
That's good to hear. Yeah. I have to really make an effort to switch, because I set up my website before Kadence. So I really have to make the effort to switch at some point, but it's such a big undertaking. But soon, new projects are with, although I have a new project underway, and that's with Kadence. So that's good.
Fun.
Okay. Did you make an offer?
I did. And I put it in the chat, and it was on the slides. So it's Groundhogg with 2 G's, 20 for 20% off.
That's very generous.
Yeah, there we go.
Right on. Well, I really appreciate you taking the, I was on the other call because I had to help wrap that one up, but I really appreciate you taking the hour out of your day, the full hour to spend with our audience. I hope that our audience got a little bit of value out of it. So that's awesome. And it was lovely to work with Kadence for the first time and collaborate on this event. And we're definitely going to have to do something in the future again. Yeah,
we have ideas. We'll be in touch.
The whole cloud library thing is something that, is pie in the sky for us with funnel templates and stuff like that. So that is definitely super valuable, at least for the agencies that just want to ship their stuff to their clients and make that super accessible. All right, well, it's 1 o'clock, so we got to wrap this up. So again, big thanks to Kathy for just being awesome and being here and being present and bringing such fabulous energy to our event. And big thanks to our audience for taking time out of the day. We've got 2 new sessions starting right now. Head on over to those.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.